Good afternoon. It is another exciting edition of Confessions of a Mouseholic, our YouTube show. It's been a hot minute since we've recorded. Somehow we get really busy.
Yeah.
And we just don't have time to do this, but it is fun. And we were talking earlier, and this is more for us than anybody else, just because we enjoy doing it.
Yeah, we love having people who watch our stuff and respond to it. It's a lot of fun, but it's really, like I said, it's all about us. It's about us and our vacations to Disney or vacations in general. So, yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So, today, news and updates.
Yes, exciting. A lot of news and updates, chock full of information. First one, biggest one out of the Walt Disney Company, Bob Iger has stepped down.
Say what?
Immediately. As of February 5th was the date that he officially stepped down. So, I was shocked. A lot of people are shocked. It's a good thing. I mean, Bob was quoted as, with everything happening, Fox acquisition, everything else that's been acquired through Disney, it was a good time to proceed with naming a new CEO.
And it's not like he's leaving the company altogether. He's just taking on a different role now. But it is kind of funny, all the things that happened, literally the day after or 2 days after they announced that Bob was stepping down. We had the Jungle Cruise, had a boat sink with people on it. There was an accident where cars crashed into each other on the People Mover.
Yeah, some scary stuff where somebody thought that there was somebody on the premises of one of the resorts with a firearm. Nobody was there with that, but...
And it's purely coincidental. It has nothing to do with Bob Chapek and his competency as a new CEO.
Yeah.
It's just kind of ironic that it happened
when it rains, it pours. And
it's welcome to your new job.
Yeah, but Bob Chapek is the new CEO. He has been named by Bob Iger. If you don't know Bob Chapek, he is the gentleman who was the previous president of Disney Parks. So he oversaw everything about the parks. And we're looking forward to seeing what he has to offer as far as the CEO. Now, I've read that Bob Iger is still on as a chief executive board member until 2021, which at that point he will exit, which was his official...
Gosh, how old is he? I mean, I bet he's in his 70s.
No, I think he's younger than that. He might be in his maybe early 60s. Yeah, the Mouseholic is going to look that up of how old Bob Iger is, but he began in 2006 after Michael Eisner left the company, which I think Michael Eisner, apart from Walt Disney himself, was the longest standing CEO of Walt Disney.
Bob Iger's 69 years old.
Well, there we go.
So I was really close.
He was.
70.
He is 69. So really looking forward to all that stuff. Good luck with Bob Chapek and his endeavors with Walt Disney. A lot of new stuff coming out. And then, so the Mouseholic recently came back from a trip to Disney without Mr. Mouseholic.
Much to his dismay.
Yes, unfortunately.
I had the opportunity to go down in December for a couple days, which was a very nice welcome change from the Ohio weather. It was my first time at Galaxy's Edge since it had opened. And so I got to do a bunch of new things that I hadn't done. I stayed at the new Coronado Springs, which I'm pretty sure maybe in episode 1 or 2, we were talking about the new tower at Coronado Springs.
Yeah.
So I was able to stay in that new tower, which was absolutely gorgeous, absolutely incredible. And the resorts, if you've never been to Disney at Christmas time, it really is just a beautiful and special time to go. So we did, we stayed at the new resort. I was able to go to Mickey's, not the scary Halloween party, Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which it ended up getting rained out, which was kind of stinky, but it is what it is. It happens.
That's the gamble you make when you go to Walt Disney World in Orlando. You always have rain potential.
It was very so rainy that everything was canceled, and it's nobody even wanted to walk to the cookie stations to get their cookies. And then, again, Galaxy's Edge. The very first thing I did when I got off the plane is I dropped my luggage off at the hotel because I came in the morning, so I stored my luggage because my room wasn't quite ready yet, and I headed straight to Hollywood Studios to just go see the brand new area. And I was able to get on Smuggler's Run that day, and that was before they started offering fast passes on Smuggler's Run, and I got up there to where the line started to get closer to inside and saw the single rider line. So instead of waiting 110 minutes, I waited about 25.
And if you don't know, single rider lines at Disney, they're not on all the rides, but on some of the top tiered ones, they are a great way to bypass all that waiting. But tell us about a Rise of the Resistance. It's a
Oh my
little different of
gosh.
a unique queue line system.
Okay, so Rise of the Resistance, as of right now, to be a part of Rise of the Resistance, you have to get to the park right when they open and you join a boarding group. So right away you're on your app and you can't join the boarding group until you're in the park. So it uses the GPS on your phone to know when you're actually in the park. And so the park opened, I want to say it's 7 o'clock the day, because I went the last day of my trip again.
Okay.
And I literally was up at 4:30 in the morning because the park opened at 7. So I was at the park at 4:30 in the morning. Or up at 4:30, at the park by 5. So I was there 2 hours before it opened. And I waited in the big line outside. I think they let us into the park around 6:30. And so maybe 6:30, 6:45, they started letting us in. And I hopped right into the line for Starbucks. And while I was waiting in line at Starbucks, I got on the app right at 7 o'clock and joined a boarding group. And I would say probably by 7:30, 7:45, the boarding groups were gone for the entire day.
Wow.
So they put you in a boarding group. And I want to say, like, let's say I was in boarding group 36, I think, 36 or 39. And on the app, it'll come up when they're boarding those groups. And when they announce your boarding group is ready, you have a 2-hour window from the time they announce your boarding group to go back. You show them that you're part of boarding group 39, or I'm trying to remember if it's uploaded to your Magic Band. I'm sure it is somehow.
Yeah.
So either you showed them on the phone or you scanned in Magic Band and it says, oh, you're part of this boarding group, come on in. And then from there is probably another 20, 25-minute wait to get on the ride.
So when you get into the ride, not to give any spoilers to our audience, for those that have not ridden, I've seen a lot of pictures. There are some spoilers. We've seen the Disney Imagineering story on Disney Plus. By the way, check that out. It's awesome. So we do see how that's all made, which the tech is brand new. But what is the queue experience when you're inside the ride finally?
So when you are in the queue, waiting to get to there's kind of like 2 parts to the ride with a wait in between. So the first section, you're going basically through, I'm trying to think how to describe it, almost like a bunker for where the rebels have been.
Okay.
And so you're walking past lockers that have the space guns and jumpsuits and flight suits and stuff like that. So that's kind of what you're seeing as you're going through that first queue. And then you get onto like a little Star Cruiser, and it has Captain or Admiral Akbar, or somebody that's at least the same species.
It's a trap.
Yeah, the
Him.
guy that looks like a fish. So you see him, and there are other interactive parts before that with Rey and BB-8 talking to you, and they're like super high def, high quality, like holograms that are like projected
Wow.
somehow, and it's insane how good they look. And then you get on the little transport, and when you come off the transport, you are in a big loading deck on like a Death Star, and you walk out, and all you see are stormtroopers.
Stop right there.
Wow.
And the cast members that are there are acting as if they are with Kylo Ren, and they're part of
First
his
Order.
the First Order.
Wow.
So they're dressed in First Order uniforms. They still have their cast member tags, and it has their names and everything, but they are definitely acting as if they are part of the First Order, and they're getting ready to interrogate you, and they're ordering you, like literally ordering you around.
Wow.
Your time has come.
And then you get on to the next main section of the ride. So altogether, from the beginning of to the end of the actual ride is probably close to 20 minutes, which you have that other little wait in between. But again, it's so interactive, and there's so much to look at while you're waiting that it doesn't feel like a super long wait. And I do like the boarding pass idea, because first of all, you're not using one of your 3 fast passes on it. And secondly, you can go do other things while you're waiting for your boarding group to be called.
And I had to say, the way that they designed this, when it first was announced how they were going to queue everybody up, it was going to be like Elite Fast Pass. You would have to, rumors were that you had to buy your Fast Pass. People were not liking that. Or it would be a special Fast Pass Plus. But I do think that this way of queuing everybody up, because it's such a new land, is a very smart idea on Disney's part, because it's not just one where you can just walk on. You have to be at the park early in the morning
Definitely.
to get your pass. So I think it's a genius way for them to crowd control and also remain some sort of exclusivity. Like you said, the Smuggler's Run does have a regular queue line. So
It does.
if you want to experience
and
that.
now does have a Fast Pass available.
you
Hollywood
go.
Studios has updated their Fast Pass tiers. So Tier 1 experiences before always had Rock and Roller Coaster and Toy Story Mania. Those are now Tier 2 attractions,
Ooh.
which is really exciting to me.
Yeah.
Because there was not a whole lot to choose from that you necessarily, will say, needed a Fast Pass
Right.
for. Like, do you need a Fast Pass for Indiana Jones? No, it's a huge open stadium.
It's a show.
Do you need a Fast Pass for the Frozen sing-along? No, it's a huge auditorium. So I think the options are a lot better now. So Smuggler's Run and Slinky Dog Dash are both Tier 1 experiences, as well as the brand new, just opened this past week, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Which Disney presented a live event, huge event. The first day it was officially open, the line reached 500 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Standby time. I was online with some of our Facebook groups that we follow. I'm just like, this, and by the way, this replaced the old Chinese theater Great Movie Ride. One of the all-time favorite rides, in my opinion. Very nostalgic about the glitz and glimmer of Hollywood, and it has a new Minnie and Mickey type of shorts sort of adventure, which is a trackless
And
system.
I believe it's in 3D also.
3D, okay. So
Maybe 4, even like the 4D where they have like the special effects to go with it.
okay, so we'll be experiencing that in June. We'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, Galaxy's Edge, just a great time. We're going in June. I can't wait to. I'm saved up for my my official Galaxy's Edge lightsaber. It's going to be great. Save up your money when you go there, because they also have droid building, which is a great experience.
And the droids are
RC, they're
yes,
remote
thank
control.
you, remote control. Like the thing with
The thing that makes them
yeah.
move.
So, and the neat thing is, you can get it out and play with it right away. They have an area set aside in Galaxy's Edge with like those rubber mats where you can actually get your droids out and play with them and play with the other droids that are there. Galaxy's Edge is such a sensory overload. It's one of those lands like Pandora at Animal Kingdom where you feel like you're transported to a different place. You're not in Orlando, Florida.
Yeah.
You are in Batuu.
Yeah.
You are in the
You're in
Black Spire.
Spaceport.
You're in this Black Spire outpost, and the characters are out walking around. There is no details spared whatsoever in this land. The food is themed after, like, I had this. It was called an Endorian chicken wrap, and do you remember the thing that they killed in The Mandalorian and like roasted?
Yes, yeah, I do.
Do you remember what that's called?
I don't.
Okay,
and I've
but-
watched it twice.
But whatever that creature was, they had like roasting on a spit at this Batuu Bites
Wow.
or whatever. And the Endorian chicken wrap was just absolutely phenomenal. I was really hungry when I had that too. It was like 2:00 in the afternoon and I hadn't eaten since the airport that morning.
Wow.
But oh my gosh, the food was delicious. The blue and green milk was a neat experience. Even if you're not riding Rise of the Resistance or riding Smuggler's Run, you definitely want to head over to Galaxy's Edge and just look around. Maybe plan on eating your lunch in that area, just because it's absolutely fantastic. And going along with that, they have Oga's Cantina. And Oga's Cantina is kind of set up like that bar where the Cantina band plays.
Yes.
Even though it's not that bar because...
But it's Star Wars, and that's a
Yes.
very relatable audio.
Yes, and so they have like a little droid who's a DJ and is playing your space favorites. You have to have a reservation to get into this bar, though, which it was packed. And there's even rules that go along with being in this bar. So I had my reservation when I was there, and you checked in at your timer about 10 minutes before, and it took a while even with the reservation to get you in, because there's maximum capacity and they pretty much have it filled to capacity.
Wow.
So when somebody gets up and leaves, they replace and put the new person in their seat. And you're not allowed to get up and walk around until it's time to leave, and you have a 1 hour maximum in this bar before you're basically booted out.
Wow.
So
Rules and regulations set
Yeah.
forth in Galaxy's Edge.
but it makes sense so that they can maximize the efficiency
yeah.
and keep the turnover. There is not food at this bar, other than like they had these little, basically vegetable chips, and
Something
they
quick
have
and
like a
easy they can throw
charcuterie
together.
board. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not a full service menu, but
All
the
right.
drink I had was called a fuzzy tauntaun, and it had like this tingly foam on top. And it was
So you didn't have to cut it open for warmth or
No,
anything?
I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
but I think it was peach and orange flavored, kind of like a
Ooh.
fuzzy navel, but then it had the tauntaun foam on top, and
Okay.
it was like a tingle foam, and it was a really interesting texture. So I have already made reservations for us when we go in June, so you can check out Oga's Cantina also.
Very, very much looking forward to it. Like the Mouseholic has said, there is so much detail, so much stuff there. And now with the Mandalorian coming out, we won't go into that, but there's also some Easter eggs there. The child.
You can now get the child merchandise.
It is coming out really quick. The explosion of the popularity of it is just amazing.
I was really bummed because they came out with the child merchandise I want to say like a week or 2 weeks after I was there in
Of course.
December, and I was so disappointed because I looked everywhere for Baby Yoda. I mean, excuse me, the child.
The child.
Not Baby Yoda. The child.
But yeah, that's as detailed as we can get without exposing any sort of spoilers. But next on with our news and updates is Epcot, and a big thing here, which is long coming, Spaceship Earth, the ride that is inside the Epcot Ball. They are closing it come May 26th. And this is going to be for a long-standing refurbishment, restoration, replacement, what have you, which is honestly since, I think it was back in 05 or 06 when Siemens, I think they're an innovation type company, technology and things like that. Mouseholic will confirm it for me. But they did a restoration just to refresh everything, make it look nice and new back in 05 or 06. And since then, it has stayed the same. So now they are going to be replacing a few of the scenes completely.
Siemens is industry, energy, and healthcare.
There we
and
go.
infrastructures in cities.
All right, so they do a well-rounded list of things. But some of the current scenes, I think there's a rumor that the Egyptian scene is going to be redone, refreshed, revived, make it look a little more grandiose. So it'll be interesting to see how Disney is going to go about changing this, because I know at the end it's very dated.
Oh my gosh.
Very, very dated
I mean,
to where
it
it stops.
essentially stops in 1980.
Right, when
Late 70s, early 80s.
when Epcot opened in 1981,
82?
October,
82.
I think it was October 81 or 82, that's when Spaceship Earth was constructed. So the advancements in technology have obviously gone far
82,
beyond
82, October 1st,
October 1st, 1982. And coupled with that, Epcot is actually going retro. They are changing how their name is shown in all marketing and the actual park. So instead of saying capital EPCOT, which Epcot stands for,
Experimental Prototype Community of Tomorrow.
it is now going to be in all caps as when it first appeared in October 1st, 1982, which is pretty cool. So really looking forward to what Spaceship Earth is going to be doing. Don't know how long it's going to be closed for.
Okay, now let me talk about what's going on at Epcot from my experience when I was there.
All right.
Epcot is a hot mess right now. The fountain that was out by Starbucks is gone. Like that whole plaza area is just a mess, just an absolute mess. Fountain View Starbucks is closed, but they opened. I think it was open. I think it opened like 3 days after I was there. Again, right after I was there, right on the edge of the World Showcase. Like right
So
on
they
the Canada
changed
side.
locations.
Yes. So they built a new
Oh.
Starbucks, and I'm guessing, my guess is it's probably just like a temporary Starbucks
Yeah.
until that construction's done. But it's like as you're heading to Canada on that right hand side on the World Showcase. It's before you hit Canada. Remember where that one that had the honey during the flower
Yeah,
garden
yeah,
festival? It's kind of in that area.
Okay, all right.
So Epcot, construction-wise, is just a mess. The World Showcase is pretty clear. There's definitely construction going on there, but it's more behind-the-scenes construction. Right now, in the Odyssey building, as you're heading to Mexico on the other side, it's been home to a lot of the festival centers and stuff for
Little kiosks.
Yeah, for the
Food and wine.
and different
Flower and
festivals.
garden.
Right now, that Odyssey building is home to what's called the Epcot Experience. And the Epcot Experience had about a 20-minute presentation with high definition video projection, like the digital mapping projection that projected on this centerpiece. And it had basically like a 360 video that went around too, going over all the changes that are coming to Epcot. So if you're heading to Epcot, definitely check out the Epcot Experience to see what's coming. And instead of being Future World and the World Showcase, they're dividing up into what they're calling neighborhoods now. And they're going to have all these different neighborhoods. So they have like a neighborhood that explores water, and it's going to have Moana as the center point.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
And it's just got all these different neighborhoods now. And things coming to the World Showcase, we've got the Ratatouille ride that's opening in 2021.
Now, there's speculation roaming around that once Spaceship Earth closes, this Ratatouille ride in France is going to open. Don't know how confirmed that is. It's just a rumor, but we really hope that it is because it is making a lot of progress.
And that ride just looks absolutely incredible. We saw it. I've had friends that went to Disneyland in Paris, and that was like their favorite part was the Ratatouille ride, and they came home talking about it. And this was probably 5 or 6 years ago.
Wow!
So I'm super excited that this is coming to Epcot. We've seen the technology, the trackless system that it uses in the Imagineering story.
Yeah.
When they were talking about building the one in Paris. So
crazy.
I'm excited to see this ride come to life in America. See how that translates. We have the new Smokehouse restaurant in the American Adventure.
That looks so
that's
good.
new, and it does look very, very good. And then the newest restaurant that's going to be opening is Space 220.
Yeah, this is not going to be Star Wars themed at all. It's in Epcot. It's in where you go to Mission Space, Test Track, that area. Also, by the way, there's a new Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster in that same area that is replacing Ellen's
Universe of Energy.
Universe of Energy. It was a very dated ride, so it's going to be a new roller coaster starring Guardians of the Galaxy. Space 220 is not on the dining plan. It is going to have a lot of stuff, and it's all immersive. So you go into this structure, and you are completely transported to what seems to be a spaceport, and you ride this elevator that makes it seem like you're going 220 miles up in the air. And everything inside is all these digital screens, no windows, but it's making you look like you're in space, which lends themselves to, again, Disney being storytellers and them putting you in the action.
Yeah, and so essentially, from at least the artist renderings that we've seen so far, the first picture you see is you looking down on Florida. You're up in space and you can see the outline of Florida. And the other one you see is, you can kind of see in this picture here.
Oh, yes.
The people are sitting and there's big windows and there's stuff floating around out in space. So I'm guessing that it'll all be done with video screens.
Yeah, these high def.
To give the impression that you actually are 220 feet above the earth.
And that has been under construction for a couple of years now. And the offerings, they're going to have up to 1,000 wines to choose from, as well as many different craft beers. So if you are a lover of fine wines and spirits, or not spirits, but craft beers, then this would be a good place for you. They are taking reservations, but it's not on the dining plan for those that you like the dining plan like us.
And the menu is not available yet.
There you go.
From what I understand, it will be American kind of food.
Okay.
So it's not ethnic like the World Showcase, because it's still, I mean, technically you're in the United States just 220 feet, or
in a spaceport.
220 miles up. Wonder if your ears pop when you're in there.
That would be quite the feat of engineering to change the pressure in the cabin.
Yeah.
But yeah, this has been an amazing news and updates section. A lot of crazy stuff that's happening. Disney World's 50th anniversary is coming up next year. So all of these updates, most of them are slated to be open when this celebration kicks off next year.
Do you want to know what one of my favorite things I'm excited about?
What's that?
at Disneyland, when you write It's a Small World, they have characters integrated from around the world,
Yes.
and which actually caused a huge
Oh, my.
controversy when they announced that they were doing
Big
that.
deal.
But they are, for the 50th anniversary celebration, they are adding the Disney characters into It's a Small World at Disney
There you
World.
go.
And it's funny because the people that had such a problem with it, I think thought we were changing this classic ride. When the
Yeah.
Imagineers did it, all the characters are still in the style of the dolls, and they're placed in the country where their origin story is.
There you
So
go.
if you're riding through and you see Lilo and Stitch, it's going to be in the Polynesian Hawaiian area. You see Alice in Wonderland, it's going to be in England. Peter Pan in England.
Mm-hmm.
So all the Mulan is in China. So you're seeing all these different characters in their home nations, and it's almost like a fun little scavenger hunt to try to find all the different characters. I so enjoy that at Disneyland, and I'm very, very much looking forward to that being a part of It's a Small World.
Absolutely.
I mean, you can only ride that ride so many times without the song getting stuck in your head, and so I think it'll be a really nice change.
Yeah. So again, lots of stuff coming out of Disney. We are very, very excited on what's going to come out. So that is your news and updates segment. All right, so we had our news and updates segment. A lot of great stuff, as we said. Next is our favorite ride at Disney. Now, this one is going to be in 2 different parks, at least the ones that we've been to, Disney World and Disneyland, and that is Space Mountain.
Yes.
So to begin, Space Mountain is an old ride, honestly, in between the 2 parks. It was first conceptualized by Walt Disney himself when he imagined up or dreamed up Fantasyland, or I'm sorry, Tomorrowland, in Magic Kingdom in the original Disneyland. So Space Mountain differs a little bit in each park.
Pause. Space Mountain opened at Disney World first in 1975.
Did it? Oh my goodness. Okay,
It opened at Magic Kingdom on January 15th, 1975.
You know what? I'm getting my information a little confused because he had the rockets that spun around. Astro Orbiters. That's the one that was in Disneyland. My mistake. So Space Mountain first opened up in 1975 in Disney World. So let's dive right into the Disney World one because that's the one I know the best. First of all is the music. And you'll probably hear the music here in the background. It has gone over some changes in the years, and it's one of my favorite queue rides, or my favorite ride queue music. It has 3 different tunnels. So you have your first tunnel, which is the entrance, and then you have your second one, which is very, very dreamy, like you're in space, kind of fun thing. And it's again also one of those immersive experiences where you make it feel like you're in space. Now, big difference with it is an old version of how they think space looks. It has not been updated at all. So
as you get in that 3rd tunnel, there's a game too.
Yes.
Which we never get to play because we always just use
We do Fast Pass because, it is a ride that the queue line is inside. So that means air conditioning. Everybody goes to the air conditioning queues. And if you do the Fast Pass, which is very smart because this is usually a 60 to 120 minute wait, you'll be a little winded when you walk there, but it is a very dark ride. And you get into the queue line, it's just so much fun. Just lots to look around, lots to listen to. One of the original marketing videos is still playing when you walk up the plank. It's very dated from the 80s, I believe. But you are in a single line rocket that fits 4 people. And 3 people.
It's 3 and 3.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. They have a tandem. Okay. So it's all themed, of course, and it's a dark ride, like I said. And to simulate the feeling of rushing through space is a couple of things that may destroy the magic for you. Are a combination of fans, the darkness, and loud music. So now this ride, its top speed is under 30 miles an hour. So now when you're like, oh my gosh, it feels so much faster, it's because of the addition of fans, the fact that it's in the darkness, your concept of speed is altered. 28 miles per hour is its official top speed. So you're racing along, and it whips around a lot. There's a lot of whipping around. So
My
if you
favorite part is like I always call it the wormhole. And
Yes.
you're like going around in a circle and it's going.
the sound effects are amazing, so they really bring you into the action. It's so much fun, and both parks are really in of their own unique way. The queue line in Disneyland is much different than
I
Disney
remember
World.
One part that totally threw me for a loop was the part of the wait was outside
Yes.
for Space Mountain.
Right. It's like, wait a
But
second.
That's nice because Southern California is like that nice temperate, low humidity, like 70 to 80.
Doesn't rain a lot.
Mid-80s, hardly ever rains. Like that was a huge difference in
Yeah.
Disneyland in general. Like the teacups are outside, and I'm like, what is going on here?
Small World ride is outside.
Right.
It's crazy.
Just because it doesn't rain as much in Southern
But I
California. as it does in
hear,
Florida.
now I hear there are changes that happen throughout the year. Hyperspace Mountain is when they alter Disneyland's ride to be like Star Wars. They change it up. Now Christmas is an interesting one, isn't it?
Okay, so during the very Merry Christmas party, before it started raining, I think we actually got to Space Mountain like right before it started raining, and it was absolutely pouring when we left. But they project red and green lights onto the outside, so it gives it like a Christmassy feel that way. And then when you get on the ride, it's a completely different ride experience. It's not completely light, but there are bright flashing lights. There's red and green flashing lights everywhere.
Ooh.
And it's playing Christmas music while you're doing it. And you know the tunnel that you first take off
Yeah.
and then it's blue?
Yeah.
It's red and green.
Oh wow.
So it's the exact same ride, but it was a new fun experience because it had the bright flashing lights. You could see the track at certain parts because the lights were so bright that they were flashing. Do not recommend the Christmas version if you're epileptic because the flashing lights
There are a
were
lot of
pretty
flashing lights in
intense.
general, yeah.
But it was playing Christmas music and it had the red and green and bright flashing lights. It was a whole fun new experience. I wish I would have had the patience to ride it again, but it was raining so hard. I was like, I just want to go put on dry socks.
Yeah.
So
And if you have been lucky enough to see it with the lights on, the People Mover at Disney World goes inside the ride and passes by what are windows, and you can hear the ride going, and actually you can see some of the ride pass through. There was one time we rode, and all of a sudden we pass a corner, and boom, the lights were on.
it was insane.
We were like, magic destroyed!
Absolutely.
It was absolutely a completely different look. It is a typical roller coaster design.
Yeah.
All indoors. But that is our favorite ride, Space Mountain. A lot of fun, a very nostalgic ride. It's one we ride every single time. And we hope to have more favorite rides in the future.
Yeah. All right, we're coming back at you with some travel tips now. Now, we have all heard the word coronavirus.
Run for your life!
Wait, isn't that a drink?
No.
No?
Well,
Oh.
and unfortunately, poor Corona, they're actually taking a hit.
Why do
right
you
now
name
because it's nothing
something
to do
after
with
a
it.
drink? I mean, ugh.
So coronavirus is something that's very, very prevalent in our news. You don't go a day without hearing something about the coronavirus in our news cycle. And it's started out in China, is now hitting mainland United States.
Yeah.
Several reported cases, several deaths that have been coming out. And it's a very unfortunate situation. Am I worried about traveling, though? No. We're leaving on a cruise in 2 weeks. And I think as long as you take the right precautions, I think as long as you're washing your hands and not touching your face, follow the CDC guidelines.
Uh-oh.
Follow the CDC guidelines. Keep your
Yeah.
hands away from your face and wash your hands.
Yeah.
You should. I mean, we've had thousands of deaths from the flu in the United States this year. So is the coronavirus something I'm worried about? No, I'd be more scared of the flu right now. Me personally. But I also know that as we're going and we're traveling, we're leaving on a cruise, not Disney related. We're going on a cruise in 2 weeks, and I know one of the things that I'm packing with me is a portable thing of Clorox wipes. I'm not going to take a full
Right.
canister, but I do plan on getting a small packet of portable Clorox wipes. I plan on wiping down my room, and I'm sure the cruise line is taking extra precautions with sanitizing, but
Oh,
just
yeah.
for my own sanity.
Right, because you haven't seen what they sanitize, so it's
I'm
always
gonna
safe.
And so basically with any travel right now, I would recommend taking your own Clorox wipes. If you're staying in a hotel room, if you're going somewhere, wipe the door handles down, wipe the counters down, wipe down any surfaces like an alarm clock.
Yeah, anything that you can usually touch
Yeah.
without just thinking about it. Countertop,
So
door handles.
wipe those things down in
Yeah.
your own room. And again, I'm not saying that mousekeeping or these cruise lines that they're not doing these things, but just for my own sense of I want to make sure it's clean, I'm going to take my own Clorox wipes. I always, and this is not coronavirus related at all, I always have pocket hand sanitizer
Yeah.
in my backpack. So if I'm not able to wash my hands before I eat my Mickey pretzel or something, I want to sanitize my hands before doing that because there's a lot of common surfaces, handrails, water
my.
fountains,
Cesspool. Cesspool.
so many things that because they put those barriers, the chains even, and little kids are touching them. So just I would plan on sanitizing before I get on a ride and basically after I get on a ride.
Yep.
Or take the time and go wash your hands. And maybe sing Whistle While You Work while you're washing your hands as a
There you
nice. I'll try to come up with a list to put on the end of Disney songs that you can sing while washing your hands that are the appropriate length.
Yes.
So that's my biggest thing with the coronavirus going on right now. And do you want to? You have the statement from Disney. Pulled
Yes,
up.
Disney did release a statement this past Thursday regarding the virus. As part of our commitment to the health and well-being of our cast, guests, and the larger community, we are carefully monitoring the evolving coronavirus situation and are in regular contact with health agencies for information and guidance. Walt Disney World Resort and Disneyland Resort, Americas, are welcoming guests as usual, and we continue to implement preventative measures in line with the recommendations of the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention and other health agencies. Now, they've also advised their cast members who have been away on vacation, specifically Asia as well as Italy, because the Italy contracted the virus there, and it's a little bit not out of control, but there's a lot there. They have asked them to stay home for the remainder of this incubation period to make sure that they are not contracting it or showing symptoms, because they want to make sure that all their guests and cast members are safe and healthy.
So my biggest thing is, do you need to cancel your vacation right now? No. But if you are sick, cancel your vacation.
Yes.
Don't go out in public.
Don't you dare.
Don't take any chances.
Don't take any chances. If you are feeling sick, if you're running a fever, I know before we even get on our cruise line, before they've added a step before we board the cruise, we have to have our temperature taken
There you
before
go.
we even get on our cruise. And I don't think that Disney, well, I can't say that with certainty. I mean, maybe they'll add that as part of their screening process when you're going through security at Disney.
Maybe random checks, kind of like their metal detectors,
But-
just to make sure.
If you're running a fever, if you're sick, stay home. Do not go on vacation if you're sick. And that brings up the purchase of travel insurance. Do you buy travel insurance or not? At this point in time, with the virus going around and illness being pretty prevalent, I'm going to say yes, buy the travel insurance. I know that's not something I normally buy, but with my grandma's health and with the coronavirus outbreak right now, I purchased the travel insurance on our cruise, and I'm glad I did. I have no
Yeah.
regrets about doing that. To me, it was worth the extra money to protect my investment.
Yeah. So a lot of good information about staying healthy on your trip. Going right into the rest of our travel tips is the planning. When you plan to go on your Disney vacation or any vacation, which, by the way, we need to mention our sponsor, which is Charming Travels LLC, a boutique travel agency specializing in Disney vacations, Adventures by Disney, Disney cruises, all over.
Yep, Universal,
Yeah.
all-inclusives, cruises, we do it all. Disney is our favorite, but we definitely have other areas that we can help our guests in.
Yeah, so again, when you start planning your vacation, there is a lot to undertake. We recommend booking a travel agent through Charming Travels LLC. They are completely free, so there's no worry about, oh, how much is this going to be? It's free. You take the stress and you put it on them, which in their case, it's not stressful. It's a joy for them to work for you.
I saw something on the internet, and I posted it on my Charming Travels page, and it said the internet is for looking, travel agents are for booking.
There you go.
So, especially with the travel agent, you're paying the exact same cost that you would if you booked on your own. But then you have the travel agent who acts as your liaison. So I know in the past I've had clients, Disney's customer service is awesome 99% of the time. But if my client has a problem while they're down there, guess who I'm going to be on the phone with? As a travel agent, I'm going to be calling the resort and saying, listen, this is not okay,
Yeah.
the way my client's being treated. And I've had to make that call before. And again, that's like the 1% chance
Right.
that something like that happens. But every once in a while, stuff does happen. And Disney vacations have so much that you have to plan for as far as what park you're going to on what day. Are there extra magic hours? Is the park closing early for a special event, like the Halloween party or
Yeah.
the Christmas party? If you're doing the dining plan, you've got dining reservations that you can start booking 100 days out. And if you don't know the restaurants because you're just like, guess who's been to not all the restaurants,
Most of
but
them,
a
yeah.
good chunk of restaurants.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot and I can make those recommendations. Fast passes. What fast passes? What are the tiers? How do I book the fast passes? What if half my party wants to go here and half my party wants to go here? That's something that a travel agent can take care of for you. That takes that headache away from you and having to worry about
They've done
that.
the research. They've been there before. And so where you want to go. So do you want to go to Disney? Do you want to go to an all-inclusive? Do you want to go on a cruise? So that's one tip that we can recommend is figure out where you want to go, figure out when you want to go. Like she said, during the Halloween, during the Christmas season, during Food and Wine, which is during Halloween, Flower and Garden, Marathon Weekend. You have unlimited choices to choose from throughout the entire year. So, do you want to go when it's a little less crowded or do you like the busyness? That's a big, big factor. And how you're going to travel when you get there. Do you drive there and do you spend the time looking for a parking space in the parks, which, by the way, they're about $40 a day to park your own car.
However, it's 25 or 30.
Okay, if you're on resort
If
property?
it's free if you're staying on property.
Well, there you
if
go.
you're staying on property, but you do have to pay to park at the resort now, which is $15 a day.
Yeah.
So you're not paying to park at the parks, but you do pay to park at the resort now.
But and then
And if you're not staying on, it's like $25 a day.
so yeah,
to
they
park.
do get you with that. But if you are not traveling via your car, are you flying down? How do you want to? When do you want to fly down? Do you want to fly down really early and then take the day and go to Disney or Universal, or how do you want to spend your time? Also, when you get there, the travel arrangements can be just there for you. You can fly down, stay on Disney property, and you just take the Disney travel system the entire time. Disney Magical Express when you get from the airport and back to the airport. The Disney bus system, if you're staying at any one of the resorts, Coronado Springs, Pop Century for the Skyliner.
Caribbean Beach.
Caribbean Beach, Coronado Springs,
Not Coronado
Springs. Caribbean Beach, Pop Century,
Pop Century, Art of Animation.
Art of Animation.
And Disney's new Riviera Resort.
So 4 resorts, if you're staying at any one of those, as well as believe the Hollywood Studios and Epcot. Do you want to take the Disney Skyliner, which is their brand new gondola system, or do you want to use their Uber type Disney travel experience?
Minivans.
The minivans, they're dressed up to look like Minnie. So your options are vast in the area of travel. So all of that information can be very overwhelming, which is why we definitely recommend a travel agent to help you say, hey, this is what you're going to do. So you basically just have an itinerary and you just do what it says.
And I do think there is definitely advantages to having it planned. But at the same time, you have to be ready to go with the flow.
Yes, things happen.
Things happen, rides close down, rides break down, it happens.
Yeah.
So you have to be ready to go with the flow too. And if you're very focused on the itinerary, sometimes you lose sort of some of the magic because you're focused on what's coming next
Where are we
instead
going
of
now?
experiencing what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's important to balance having that plan, being flexible with that plan, and making sure you're enjoying the moment as well.
Yeah, maybe it could be something where the Mouseaholic has done a day at Disney on her own. I'll be traveling down after she's already down there in June. I'll be having a day at Disney myself. This allows you to just be your own tour guide or be your own itinerary.
Yeah.
You set the tone. If you want to go meet a character, if you want to go eat this pretzel, if you want to go wait in line for this line for an hour and a half, that's your prerogative.
There is something, it's so liberating going to Disney by yourself because and I love going to Disney with the Mr. Mouseholic. I do enjoy that time, but going by yourself is a whole new level of freedom. Where you're not tight, like you can eat when you want. You don't have to worry, oh, is the other person hungry, or where do they want to eat? Is it the same place that I want to eat?
There's no checking and asking.
If you want to do something, you go do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
I pulled up the app and I was like, oh, this only has a 5-minute wait. I'm going to go do this now. And I was even changing my fast passes around the day of, which is not something I normally do because we're very itinerary people. But I was like, oh, well, I'm going to switch this with this and this with this. And
Like, I'm closer to this ride, so I'll go here first. You know, you have that freedom now. A family of with children, that may not be as accessible for you, but certainly is something where it's like, you know what, we're going to go off itinerary. Where do you guys want to go today? And you just let the children take control. So, you know, they want to go to the Goofy's Barnstormer, which I think it's called something else now. But if you want to go to New Fantasyland or anything like that, you know, it can do that. You can follow an itinerary for most of the trip. You can also go off book and make sure that you look around and experience Disney or experience your vacation. When we went to Jamaica, we definitely did not really have much of an itinerary other than a few things that we had, you know, dinner reservations, our couples massage, but that was mainly it. Everything else we're just like, well, do you want to feel like going to the beach? Oh, do you feel like going to the pool? So it was definitely a much different vacation, but nonetheless one that was unscripted.
it's still called the Barnstormer.
Okay, all right. So, you know, your
I
travel...
don't know what you were thinking on that.
I guess I read something. It might have been something different. But so that's our travel tips here. Again, Charming Travels LLC, boutique travel agency specializing in Disney vacations. Contact them today if you have any questions or if you want to book your next trip right away, because I hear with this medical situation that we have going on, airlines can get a bit less expensive with flights. You may want to check it out.
Yeah, definitely. We were able to save. We were going to drive to Florida to catch our cruise ship in about 2 weeks, and because the flights were almost $300 each way per person, so we were looking at paying almost as much for the flights as we did for the cruise. And I'm like, absolutely not.
No.
And we were able to get round trip flights for both of us for under $400. So perk of the coronavirus.
Yeah. So we do we do hear the cruise industry is taking a little bit of a hit, but that's okay. It will bounce back. We are very hopeful. So that's our show in a wrap, and tons of information. This was a great episode. I had a lot of fun.
If you have questions, please feel free to leave us comments, and we will hopefully have another episode coming up here, maybe Easter time.
Yeah. Give you
And
some stuff about our cruise. And...
Yeah, we'll come back and talk some more, and we'd be happy to answer your questions.
All right, everybody. So this is Mr. Mouseholic.
And the Mouseholic.
We'll see you guys later.